Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is and we are back in the office. We're back in a house. I know I haven't had the best setups as far as home offices go, and I think this might be potentially the worst one. I do plan on getting some stuff in the background, you know, like a lot of other creators out there. I know my backgrounds have been a little bit suspect in the past, but I'm working on it. The other thing that you're probably wondering about is why I'm in a towel, essentially. And that is because it is starting to really warm up here in Austin, and my house internally is like 80 degrees right now. I try not to, crank the AC until later in the evening when I'm, kind of winding down and so on. But I just got out of the shower and it's just too hot. I don't want to wear a shirt, but I wanted to record this video. So I hope you don't mind in that aspect. But like I said, we are back with some of the bedroom commentary or office commentary that I like to do occasionally. I like to talk about different things, current events, different opinions, different predictions, and that kind of stuff. And this video, as you're probably aware, is all about the future, the next decade, let's call it, of Tesla and by extension Elon Musk. I've been wanting to make this video for some time now, but I just have not had a second to because I've been doing a bunch of other things. It's something that I've just been thinking about recently, and then all of the very recent stuff came out with him doing a few weird maybe things in social media. So I've been planning this, not in social media necessarily, but in public. So I've been planning this video for over 6 months, and now this stuff, all of the new stuff kind of happened as soon as Trump got elected and so on. So I just thought I may as well make my video here. So let's get into it. My prediction for Tesla as a company for the future, right? For the next 10 years, let's call it. It's really difficult to kind of look past that 20, 30 year mark. You're just kind of guessing at that point. But I feel like that 5 or 10 year mark is kind of something that we can kind of picture. And my prediction for Tesla in general is not that good. Of course, we all know that the Tesla as a company makes money they make money in a couple of ways, but the main way, right, is sales of electric vehicles. Their Teslas, their Model 3s, their Cybertruck, which didn't sell that well, honestly. But they also make some money by selling EV credits, which are kind of an EPA thing, to other companies like Toyota and Honda and so on. The thing that I think we all need to kind of acknowledge with electric vehicles is, although the first fully electric vehicle was created decades and decades ago, far before Tesla, Tesla was the company that really started here in the United States, at least, getting them in the hands of the consumer. And there was obviously a lot of hype, some years ago when they really hit the road and their Model 3 came out and people loved it and the price was okay and, that kind of stuff. But now that it's been with consumers for some years at this point, a lot of people can start to speak their mind on their products. And this is the same with any kind of product, right? A lot of times when it's new, it could sell very, very well, right? People are really hyped up about it. Maybe it does something that's pretty impressive, but the true test of time is when consumers get their hands on it and they start using it for 3, 5, 7, 10 years. And what's important about that point is that for vehicles, and I might be alone here, but when I'm purchasing something that really kind of goes over that $5,000 or even $1,000 mark, I'm looking for longevity, right? So when I get a vehicle, and these vehicles, 20, 30, 40, a lot of money, right? Quite a bit more than that, honestly. People want them to last a long time. They essentially want them to last as long as they want them to. They want to be able to say, okay, I'm done with the car and give it away. They don't want the car to just kind of, the wheels to fall off or for it to stop being stop being an effective vehicle, which is something that people are kind of now experiencing, I think, with the Teslas after owning them for that 3 to 5 year range. Of course, the biggest thing with electric vehicles is that like our phones, right, similar to our phones, they run on batteries. And what do we know about batteries is that they are pretty nice, right? Moving around, they can be smaller, lighter, they're pretty efficient, okay. But over time, we know that they deteriorate. And everything over time deteriorates. But why would you want your vehicle deteriorating as fast as batteries in electric cars do? A perfect example, and I'm sure many of you can relate. You buy a phone, right? You're really excited about it. The first year, you feel like the battery, it lasts like 3 days, right? You tell your friends, I haven't charged my phone in 3 days. I watch videos, whatever. Year 2, you notice a little bit. You're like, okay, well, I'm charged today. Okay, no big deal. Year 3 comes around. Now you're really noticing it. And if you're like me and you're year 5, with your phone. This is an iPhone X. The first time they went full screen, brim to brim or whatever it is. I don't know how many years ago that was at this point. I think we're on like iPhone 17. But my battery is horrible, right? I get sketched out when I know I need to be gone for a while and I won't have a charger. But normally I charge at least once or twice a day, just to put some battery back into it because it leaves my phone so easily. And the same thing goes for Teslas, right? They run on the same lithium batteries. It's just that the Teslas have a huge version of it, but the concept is the same. The batteries are going to deteriorate over time with use. And it's not even they're going to deteriorate with use. Just sitting there, they're probably, they're going to deteriorate as well, which is a pretty stark difference than what you see in traditional gasoline engines, right? Traditional internal combustion engines are not the same. The fuel economy in a traditional combustion engine might change slightly over time if you really don't take care of it. But if you take care of it, you're going to get the same gas mileage that you did when you bought your car. My car, for example, is from 2009, and it gets the gas mileage that was promised in 2009. It's the same exact gas mileage. Essentially, it has been consistent for its entire life thus far. Electric vehicles are not the same. What goes hand in hand with this point is that people are noticing that not only are their batteries deteriorating, over time, the mileage that they can get or that they're getting is not what they were promised. Now, this is very similar to combustion engine cars, right? They're tested on these machines with these cylinders. It's not realistic, but the difference that I've heard from people that actually own electric vehicles is huge. In traditional vehicles, you might see like a 10% or 15% difference, I think is fair. But from a lot of individuals that I've talked to that own electric vehicles, the difference is like 30%, sometimes even more. What is also problematic about electric vehicles, specifically Teslas in this case, that people are kind of wising up to is that batteries, as I keep kind of going on about these batteries, they have a flaw not only with the duration that they're being used, right, their timeline, but they also have issues with temperature as well, extreme hot and extreme cold. In both cases, the batteries need to essentially turn themselves on to run the fans or to not run the fans in the case of being cold, to warm up, as to not to make the battery deteriorate even faster. If your internal combustion car automatically turned on while it was in the driveway and ran through gasoline when it was hot out, you would probably have an issue with that, right? That is not something that you want. Now, granted, it's not consuming a huge amount of the battery, right? It's not going to drain half of it, or at least I hope. But I think it's one of those things that people just get annoyed by, right? Because it means that if they park their car with kind of a lower battery and it was extremely hot or extremely cold, they know that it's going to turn on eventually. So now they have to go to a charging station. Now they have to do this. Now they have to plug it in at home. It just depends on your circumstance. But that's just another aspect of a of a difficulty, of a drawback that people are, I think, noticing when they have these electric vehicles. Another big issue that people are catching on to is the accessibility to charging stations, aka combustion engine gasoline pumps, when you're going on road trips. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that say that there are stations, I'm not disagreeing with you, but the issue with that is that I think they're generally located in dense populated areas, right? So what happens when you want to go even remotely out of the way? I recently, within the last 4 months or so, made the drive from Wisconsin to here in Austin, Texas, and I think I found on my way here I took the quickest route, right? So major highways and country roads, whatever was the fastest way, and I saw one station that I can remember that had charging stations for electric cars in that entire trip. So that's like a 1,200 mile trip, and I saw one. This means that you might be able to make this trip in an electric vehicle, but you are going to have to take detours to find basically these charging stations, so you can then sit there for a decent amount of time before you can get back on the road. I recently heard a story from someone I know who has a Model 3 or a Model Y, whatever it is, with their family. They wanted to take a trip. It was like a 5-hour trip. And by the end of it, right, by the time they actually got to their destination with all of the charging, I think they said they had to stop 3 times for, charging just to get some battery, just to get their battery charged. It took them an extra hour or an hour and a half. I think it was an hour and a half extra from what was initially planned, right? What it would have been if you were in a gasoline car, right? Because filling gas takes 5 minutes, maybe less, depending on how hard you squeeze the pump, but that's how long it took. And they also mentioned that each time they got to the charging station on the way, they were cutting it very, very close to the end of their battery. In the terms of a gasoline car, your gas light is on, and the indicator is nearly on empty. That is pretty sketchy, right? I think in some cases they mentioned they were at like 5% battery, just pulling into into the next station where they could charge their car. This is an annoying thing, right? And if you actually do a little bit more, if you're a little bit more informed on the way that these stations are built and who maintains them and how much it costs and so on, there have been quite a few efforts by the government to really kind of halt these expansions, right? Because these are these green initiative expansions. A lot of that stuff has been really cut. They're expensive to maintain. They, in a lot of cases, need special kind of wiring because everybody wants a fast charger, because if you're not fast charging, you're going to be sitting there for, overnight, essentially. So there's so many issues with the infrastructure around actually using these cars for what cars are meant to be used for, that I think people are catching on to that too, where they want to take road trips, and it is just the biggest headache, where they think they may as well rent a gasoline car to go on these longer trips. Another annoying thing, right? Because you have a car, you want to be able to use it for any kind of traveling, short distance or long distance. One of the other reasons, and probably the biggest reason, why I think I don't surmise that the future of Tesla is that bright are the recent actions, of course, of Elon, right? Trying to get involved, well, not even trying to get involved, but getting involved with the government and kind of souring the taste of his, basically everything that he kind of oversees in the eyes of the people. I'm sure many of you, are familiar, especially if you're living here in the United States, of the vandalism linked to, Tesla's people. People are lighting them on fire, committing arson, just to show their disdain for Elon and, by extension, his companies as well. And this is not something that he planned, I don't think. But I feel like he should have known a little bit better. You should know how people people have opinions, right? And nowadays, it feels like anything goes. There was the recent assassination of the United Health CEO. I made a video on that, I believe, kind of talking about how there's always two sides to every single story usually. And the same goes for this, where you have an individual who already basically has the world in terms of money, now getting involved with the government and cutting this, and just kind of putting a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and that can taint the image of the individual, and by extension everything that they basically own, which of course another big deal for old Elon is Tesla. So I think one of the other contributing factors is no one forgets about that, right? People remember those kind of things, and it could definitely be the case where people are steering away from buying a Tesla simply because they don't want to be associated with him as an individual. Because if you buy one, you're obviously supporting him, right? You're supporting his companies and so on. They also might be afraid that someone is going to vandalize their car as well. I personally haven't seen any vandalized, but people will do it, right? And that is human nature, right? People like proving their point. They want to make a point, even if it is in kind of violent ways, right? Starting these fires. Those fires with electric vehicles, these lithium batteries burn extremely, extremely hot. I mean, they're very hard to put out, so it's dangerous to when these kind of things occur, but they occur. And not only do they occur when people are trying to start them on fire, they also occur when they're not, right? There's been instances where cars, Teslas start on fire when they're in someone's garage or in just parking lots randomly, or just a lot of other instances. And that is something that is terrifying for a lot of people. Imagine you buy a car, you spend a lot of money on it, and it burns your entire house down and kills your family. That was maybe a little too dark. Let's just say it burns your house down, right? And everything that you love besides your family. That doesn't happen with traditional vehicles. It just doesn't. I mean, you would need to put a match in the gas tank, open it. I mean, it just doesn't happen. That's not the engineering of mechanically, that's not how internal combustion engines work. So there you go. Those are just a few reasons, my rationale for why I personally don't believe that the future for Tesla as a company is that bright. I can think even right now of many, many more examples that I think will contribute, to the unsuccess of the company as a whole. But those are just some of the main ones that I wanted to voice my opinions on. But of course, I like to hear from you guys as well. If you have any other opinions on why Tesla may or may not be successful in the upcoming future, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to hear them. I know this video did tend to go on a little bit longer than I had planned, but if you have stuck around to hear my thoughts here, I really do appreciate your time, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.